BMW's CEO has just claimed that phasing out gas cars won't help save the planet. Why exactly did he make that claim? Well, here's what I think. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. I'm coming to you here from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome to all you new subscribers. Welcome back to everyone else. Great to have you here. Big shout out, thank you to our supporters on Patreon. If you want to support us on Patreon, I'll put a link in the description below. By the way, if you want to invest in any stocks, one way you can do it, the way that I use personally, I only use one app or one platform, which is called Stake. And you can use Stake to invest in over-the-counter stocks, such as BYD and a range of others, Tencent, for example. You can also use it to invest in the US stock exchange and the Australian stock exchange. And trading on the platform is actually free. It costs you a small percentage to put your money in. And then after that, every transaction you make, there's no fee, there's no charge involved. If you want to jump on and try Stake, I'll put a link in the description below to my code that you can use. And if you use that code, you'll get a free stock when you create your account. BMW CEO has warned against premature phase out of combustion engines. He said, "I don't think that would help the climate or anyone else." Why is he saying this? Well, there's one very, very compelling reason for him to say this, because obviously it's false. It will help everyone. It will help everyone to save money on car ownership. It will help everyone to save money on health, because it will make the air that they breathe cleaner and prevent them from getting cancers, which diesel and petrol fumes do cause cancer. It will help people to have lower operating costs. It will help people to have cars that last longer. It will help people to have cars they can use for energy supply of their house. They can charge their cars using their solar panels. It will help us to potentially lower the warming in the planet. So obviously he's wrong. Why is he making this claim? In fact, he's made similar claims like this recently a number of times. You know who he sounds a lot like? He sounds a lot like the president of the Japanese Automotive Association, who just so happens to be the CEO of Toyota. According to the executive, premature end to the internal combustion engine would not be preferable, and it probably won't be good for the environment either, he says. Zips's comments were shared during a closed-door meeting at the CSU parliamentary group in the Bundestag. As noted in an automobile report, the CEO was firm in the idea that it would be unwise to abandon ICE technology too soon. The following was Zips's comments. The largest market segment in absolute terms by a wide margin in Germany, but also in Europe and worldwide, is the internal combustion engine. Before you simply shut something like that down within 8 or 10 years, you have to know well what you're doing. If you try to ban this technology in Germany and Europe, but the world market is not even that far, you will lose this technology in the world market as well. That's why we are also warned against doing this too early and not giving the transformation a chance to develop with the markets. It would be harmful to simply give up a technology in which you have a global market position without need. I don't think that would be helping the climate or helping anyone else, said Zips. Now, clearly, as Teslarati says, the shift of the auto market towards full electric vehicles is becoming more and more evident, happening faster and faster. This is largely due to companies like Tesla, BYD, XPeng, NIO, and even Volkswagen, who are significantly ramping up their EV production, deciding to spend $180 billion on making the transformation to electric vehicles. Just recently, Volkswagen announced that it had completed the transformation of its Zwickau plant from ICE production facility to an EV manufacturing site. Other German automakers such as Porsche and Audi are also seeing some success in their respective electric vehicle programs. Interestingly though, BMW also has several EVs in development, though the company has noted that there will still be a place for combustion engines in its lineup for years to come. It's worth considering the fact that a very small percentage of BMW's total sales are electric right now. Very small percentage. This is evident in BMW's current initiatives, some of which include the development of next generation petrol and diesel engines that are far more efficient than their predecessors. In other words, BMW is still investing hundreds of millions of dollars into internal combustion engine technology. Now, some of this video was posted on Teslarati, and one of the most popular responses to this article said, "I'm totally keeping count of companies to never buy a car from again. Toyota is number one. Then these guys. It's crazy how the two companies that were arguably the biggest leaders in EVs are now somehow dead last. What I find interesting about all of this is that Zips is not the only CEO making these kinds of comments recently. Another CEO made similar comments, Carlos Tavares, who is the CEO of Stellantis. So did the CEO of Toyota. Why are they making these comments? All of them, all three of them, are afraid. They're afraid of losing market share, which is happening right now. And if it hasn't already happened to them, over the next decade, it will. Disruption is imminent, and they're afraid of losing their jobs. They're afraid that history will look back and say, look at that CEO. Look what he did. He was part of one of the greatest disruptions in the history of the automobile. So when this CEO says, I don't think that would help the climate or anyone else, what he's really saying is, I don't think that would help our bottom line. So please don't do it. Now, this is all anyone needs to know right there regarding BMW and their attitude, their true attitude towards EVs. Zips is saying that because they are a major player in the ICE market or the gas market, and if they transition over to EVs, they will lose that position that EVs should be phased in as slow as possible to enable BMW to lose as little market share as possible. Now, clearly Zips doesn't see the need for EVs in terms of helping the environment, improving the planet. I really hope the EU doesn't fall for this charlatan's nonsense. And if BMW keep up this mindset, this internal mindset, and continue to have this CEO represent them, then we will see them suffer a deeply irreversible loss that will take them a bankruptcy or close to it. Obviously, at some point, the likelihood is the German government will bail them out. The question is, how many times will they need to do that? Now, you're probably thinking, yeah, come on, Viking, it's BMW here. I mean, surely they've got lots of money. Well, maybe you should check out my video where I discuss how much money BMW actually have. Now, don't go into detail because detail is too specific. It would take me hours to make a video on precise details. But I do use a very important metric in that video to show you the financial position currently of BMW. The Altman Z score is a metric that sums up the health of a manufacturing company. According to the Altman Z score, BMW's current economic health is exceptionally poor. Obviously, this coming disruption could put them into that bankruptcy zone that they are not very far away from. Don't believe me? Check out the video. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. Now, personally, I think this is a good reason to avoid buying cars from BMW. Basically, they're using their position to try to influence policy in a negative way. Why don't we just avoid BMW and buy from other brands who are not doing this? One of the other brands that are not doing this is Volkswagen. You know who else isn't doing this? Ford isn't doing it. But who is doing it? Well, Toyota. So is BMW. And so is Honda. Well, why don't we just avoid those companies and buy elsewhere? Let our dollars do the talking. Let me know what you think in the description below. What brands do you plan to buy, or what brand would you consider buying over the next few years? Thanks for watching the channel, and I'll see you again on the next video. Bye-bye.